Alright, so I hope you gave it a try to find revenue using order number, and I'm just gonna just complete that since you must have tried that, and if you were not able to do that, I'm gonna do that again. So order number is my lookup value, and again leftmost side of the column of the table that you specify. So my table has to make sure that my selection starts from order number, right? There you go. And using order number I need to find revenue, so my selection of this much is enough, right? Although even if I selected till profit, it's not going to really make any difference, right? So there you go. Column index will be the uh, data on which what I'm trying to find is available, right? So revenue is in the second column, right? So this is the first column, this is the second column. So my column index is going to be 2, and my range lookup is going to be 0 because I want an exact match. If I wanted an approximate match, I would have used 1. And there you go, I'm using to find the revenue, right? Now, as the part of the content which I wanted to cover in this video was to show you the limitations of VLOOKUP, right? So if somebody told me that using revenue, can you find customer number? Right? So I wanted to pause this video and just think about this. Can you actually use VLOOKUP function to, if you were given the revenue, which is on the right side of customer number, can you use revenue as the lookup value to find customer number? Right. So pause this video and think about this. So if you've already paused and now if you were able to say that no, you cannot find out, that's exactly the limitation, right? Because the problem with VLOOKUP function is that it's always going to look at the leftmost side, right? And we really don't want that kind of a limitation when we are dealing with data, right? Now you might say that yes, I can change the table orientation by copying the revenue to the left, but unfortunately that's not really a practical solution, because you might try to look up something like profit next time, again you'll have to copy to that to the left, right? So that's going to be a lot of mess. So it's better to find a function which can solve that problem, and the two functions which can actually work for that is first is index, right? And second is match, right? Now I would like you to think about a very common question that I'm going to ask you, right? While you're looking at any data, right, most likely the data orientation is this way, right? You've got headers and you've got values which are vertical, right? Now whenever you're looking at data in which you've got headers and the data is flowing down, right, what part of the data do you actually most likely know? Do you know the column number of a data point, or do you know the row number? For example, if I ask you which row number is 65551 on, it's going to be a difficult task for you to tell me exactly which row number this data point is on, but you might be able to tell me which column this data point is on, right? You can clearly see it's on the 4th column, right? So most of the cases we are aware of the column number, but we are not aware of the row number, right? So why don't we find out a function which is able to tell us the exact row number of a data point, right? So that's what the match function is going to do, right? So the match function is just to find us the row number. All right, so let's first solve that part and then we can come to what index does. All right, so let's write the match function. It's very similar to a VLOOKUP function. The only thing is that the selection is going to be only one column. We don't really have to select an array. We can just select one column because we're just interested in which row number this revenue is on, right? So my lookup value is going to be revenue, comma, right? Let's go to the lookup array. Now lookup array is going to be only one column because we know which column revenue is on, right? We are not really confused on whether revenue is on the first column or the second column. So my selection also automatically becomes only one column, right? Done, comma, right? And now since I've done the selection and also pay very small, just a bit of time noticing that I've selected the header. It really doesn't matter if you select the header, just that your count will increase by 1 in terms of row number. So while you are using some other function along with the lookup function, the match function, you also have to make sure in that case also you are using the header. So keep it even, right? If you're using headers in this formula, try to use headers in the other function as well, right? Okay, so now we've selected the lookup array, we've selected the lookup value, and we just need the row number. So I'm just gonna take 0 because we need the exact match, and we should get, so there you go. It gives us the row number as 10, right? Now just hold your thought and think that I know the row number of this data. Revenue is on 10th column, 10th row of revenue column, right? And I know the revenue is on the 4th column. So if I know both the data, right? So for example, you know the row number, and the column number is also evident, right? Because column number is 4th, we can just observe it, right? Now if somebody tells us, can you find the customer number for this data? It's pretty possible, right? Because you know that for revenue, right, on the 10th row, which is this one, right? Remember the header, that's why it's 11th, because revenue header takes up one value. So 6551, right, is where our revenue is on. Now the intersection of this out here to the left actually gives me the customer number. So now I just need a function which just finds the intersection, right? So that is what the index function is going to do, right? So index, just like any book, right? What do you do with the index function, right? It just tells you this page, this area, right? Similarly like this for index function. So I'm going to select the entire table. Now in index, it really doesn't matter, right? It's not like VLOOKUP function that I have to select the table in a certain structure, right? So I've selected the entire table. Now you see what is it's asking. It's asking us for the row number, right? You already used the match function to find the row number, right? So 10 was the row number. And what column do I need the data for? We need the customer number. So the customer number is in the first column, right? Not the D column, because we're not trying to find the revenue. We are trying to find the customer number, right? So customer number is in the first column. So let me put the first column as the data point, right? There you go. So using index and match, although we did it in two parts, right, we were able to find the customer number irrespective of what the data, in which column the data was on, right? Now what I'm going to do is, it's not practical to write match function separately and index function separately, right? So we're going to try to combine that both in one formula, right? So I'm going to open up the index function, right? And let's select the table first. There you go. That's my table. Now as soon as it asks for the row number, what I'm going to do is, instead of calculating the row number separately, I'm going to write the match function inside. Remember, match function is going to find us the row number of the lookup value, right? So the lookup value is this, right? And the lookup array is the revenue column, right? Because we just want to know which row this data is on. And just look at my selection. In both the cases, index and match, I've selected the headers so that the counting does not get mismatched. And the match type is 0, right? Comma. Now it's asking for what exactly data do I want? I want the customer number, and the customer number is on the first column. And there you go. I close the bracket and I have the customer number. Right? So this is going to take some practice. What I would suggest is, first try to understand this in two parts. First is match, understand it separately, and then try to understand index separately. And then once you're comfortable with both of the concept, then try to match this up, right? What I want you to do is, after you've tried out this exercise with me out here in this column on row number 13, this revenue and customer number example, I want you to try it out for customer name and customer number yourself. And if you have any doubts, post it in the video or the Google Classroom or WhatsApp, whichever is more comfortable to you, and I will help you out with that. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you with the next lecture. Thank you. Bye-bye.